I'd like to congratulate all of you for this great milestone, which is the 25th anniversary of Basque Country competitiveness, thinking and policy, and also an anniversary of the ideas in the Competitive Advantage of Nations book that I introduced. And I think these two events really go together in a very interesting way because the Basque Country was really the first really significant economic area or country that actually embraced the new thinking on competitiveness that started emerging in the late 80s and early 90s. And I was privileged to be involved in this early work in the Basque Country, initially with John Nasua, who many of you know. And that work was foundational both to the Basque Country, but also in a very important way, the work of the Basque Country and orchestra, which has been one of the results of that work, is now a leading global center of thinking and action on competitiveness, and is having a major impact not only continually within the Basque Country, but also around the world. As all of you know, in the late 80s, the Basque Country was not performing well economically. It was in a very deep economic transformation, reflecting the old industrial economy that existed here. I never forget when I arrived in the Basque Country for the first time, there was a lot of empty steel mills. And it was chilling. It was like being on a foreign planet to see this. But fortunately, leaders at the time understood that there needed to be an economic transformation, and they set out to find ideas from around the world to see if that could guide such an economic transformation and a successful transformation. I got to know you in the Basque Country, and we started a process of creating an economic transformation, which I think has been successful beyond anything we could have hoped for. The Basque Country has been a high-performing regional economy, and it continues to be a well-performing economy that has been unusually able to continue to innovate and adapt and improve as global competitive conditions have changed. The initial agenda was very heavily focused around the concept of clusters. Clusters is now widely accepted and widely used around the world for economic development, but when 25 years ago, that was not the case. This was an idea that actually was got some challenges because it was viewed as industrial policy that didn't work. But I think in the Basque Country, you were able to realize that actually clusters are fundamentally how the economy works. And cluster policy is really just trying to amplify innovation and change in the economy rather than somehow distort it. And the Basque Country became really a model of cluster development. And in fact, we have case studies on the Basque Country, and much literature has grown out of the unique experience that you all created in the Basque Country. Over the years, in order to make this more powerful and impactful, orchestra was formed. And orchestra has emerged as perhaps one of the leading think tanks in the entire world on this subject of cluster development and competitiveness. You just truly do not know how much influence you have in this relatively small region in which you live. Orchestra was fundamental in benchmarking the performance of the Basque economy and doing pioneering research on what was going on, but also in enabling action and projects. There's very few organizations in the world in this field that are able to combine, good research, world-class research, with actually getting involved in taking real action. And Orchestra has been such an organization. Today, the influence of orchestra and its research are way beyond just the Basque Country. It's become really a leading, energetic thought leader within Europe as a whole. It's been very influential in affecting policy at the European level and around the world. And we have really cherished our association with orchestra and their deep participation in the kind of global effort to both study but also drive improvements in competitiveness. So I think all of you here should be extremely proud of what you've done. This is a remarkable story. It's a story that we'll be telling and retelling for many years to come. Orchestra has more vitality today than ever. Your leaders are even more effective than the generations of leaders before them. And my hope and my wish for you is that this work only gets more important and only gets more ambitious, and that the Basque Country continues to thrive and to innovate and to improve. It's a remarkable accomplishment. I'm sorry I can't be there with you to celebrate in person, but I, at the core, feel very much like one of you in the Basque Country, given this relationship that we've had over so many years. I want to single out John Lethua as the leader who saw this potential many, many years ago and made a lot of the initial steps happen, but there's been many other leaders after John that have continued this work, and one of the remarkable things about you in the Basque Country is your ability to collaborate and to work on things that made sense, cutting across, in many circumstances, traditional political boundaries and other divisions in society. So I wish you another long period of such important work, and we will be very eager to see that progress, and we're hopeful that this thinking and this reality that you've created in the Basque Country can spread to more and more countries. We can get away from the unhappy, unhealthy political dialogue that we're having in so many parts of the world right now, and that this approach that you've taken will become seen as really the only way to ultimately succeed in building prosperity.